Lisa? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
flag of the
of the
United States of America
and to the
to the
republic
republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
and
justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Again, I don't see anybody from the public joining us today. So no public comment. Approval of minutes. I would look for a motion to accept the minutes from our January meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Who did that?
Roy's fine.
Roy, and who seconded?
I'll second.
Okay, Nick seconding. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And I think if I'm reading correctly, that we have Beth joining us. Is that you? Are you there, Beth?
Yeah, I'm here, and only you can appreciate this, Mike. Chuck is going to be walking in the house any minute behind me.
Oh, I'd love to see Chuck.
And he has an absolute fit when I show him on Zoom. I'll do my best. No,
All
seriously.
right, well, do your best, because he'd probably have a double fit if he sees me on the screen.
Let me move this over, so this way.
That's funny. So anyway, Beth, I have you actually, your timing couldn't be better because you're next up on the agenda, and your invitation as a result of our last meeting, and Roy was talking about what we could do to help support what's going on in Stony Hill. And we had a little bit of a conversation, and the thought is to invite you and allow some of the members to ask questions that they may have as a result. I'm gonna ask Roy to take the lead on this part of the conversation for the sake of everybody from your perspective. So Roy?
Okay. Hey, Beth, thank you for coming on. I appreciate that. So, but I think our group.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I apologize. Okay.
Hey, Beth, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Roy?
Good, good. No, our group went at our last meeting. You know, we just said, you know, maybe we should talk to you a little bit and just get your idea. It seems like the Route 6 corridor has not probably, I mean, it got started with some development a couple of years ago, and then it kind of tapered back. And we were just kind of looking as a positive way of looking forward. Are there items that our group could start pushing towards? I mean, the tax incentive, I think that's a big one that starts things along. But, you know, just from your side, what are you seeing out there, Beth? And what do you think we should be supporting, and which way should we be pushing?
First, I would tell you, as far as what has been going on up there, a constant question is 36 Stony Hill Road, which is a development with what I call, and I've told the developer, the Tower of London in the middle of the development. I've recently met with them, and again, they are looking to start up again in March. They are a big developer. I don't have any concerns about the project starting. They paid cash for the property, over $6 million. They pay their taxes regularly, and they have all their bonds posted. They do plan on doing the residential first, and they are still looking for a possible tenant, as far as I understand, for the 20,000 in the front.
Good.
We are also talking with them too, because that front piece was strictly made for medical office. There is an increase in parking associated with that. I have been talking to them about the possibility of downscaling that to some kind of commercial endeavor. And we'll see where that goes. A smaller scale commercial endeavor. There has been some interest in the Rubino property over the last couple of months, I would say, last month or so. As far as the interest in that property, again, I think that I've been encouraging anyone, because it is such a large scale development, that we have to start looking at our ratio of residential versus commercial. When you want to do a mixed use development, and Roy, I include you in this discussion along those lines. When you look at how that was approved, the Stony Hill piece, I think the requirement was, and again, I apologize, I haven't had time to look at my own notes on the project, but I think it was approved for something like 70,000 square feet of commercial and 60 residential units. When you look at how things have gone along, I look at the TOD zone in the downtown area.
Yep.
That mixed use development is starting to come online. I think that we're going to have to reevaluate the regulations that are in place for the commercial versus the mixed use. And we may have to downsize on the commercial aspect of it, because
Do you see support, Beth, on that? Is that going to be okay? I mean, as far as support for the residential within that component. I don't disagree with you, Beth, because the whole market has changed so dramatically. But I'm just saying, town-wise and residence-wise and what have you, do you think there's going to be some pushback on that as far as changes?
I do think that there will be pushback, but as you, Roy, have been here forever, like I have been here forever, I can remember 30 years ago not wanting a continuation of Route 6 in Danbury,
Right.
coming up to Route 6 in Bethel. We didn't want McDonald's. We didn't want drive-throughs. We didn't want large big box realtors. We didn't want Target.
Right.
But I believe very firmly that we have to go with the economy and with the times. And I don't see it changing in the short range future, which I'm talking about in the next 5 years.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
long range, if you want to be like the Rubinos and wait for 20 years for 20 to 30 years for something to happen, then yes, it probably will be extended to the Route 6 area. But again, I'm starting to look at the Route 6 area with the connections that we've made with sidewalks and things of that nature. I see people walking there. I see almost a second community happening out there. And I may be wrong.
That's good in my mind. I think that's great that you can walk to, areas you want to shop at and eat and dine at, similar to downtown. I would like to see that myself. I just don't, it was always Route 6 was always a little bit different than downtown. So.
And it still is.
Right.
It still is.
Beth, what about crosswalks on Route 6? If you're going to have the sidewalks to be able to access where you need to go.
The biggest problem with crosswalks, we have tried to get crosswalks at the intersection of Old Hollyville and Plum Trees Road.
Yeah.
Because it is a state road, the state really, it's very difficult to get someone in the state to agree with that concept. But as we keep going forward with more residential development and commercial development out there, it's a fight that we have to have our state legislatures involved with to do the battle up there. One thing to remember also, I see Steve is on here. Hi, Steve. Steve Tamara, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. Are you still involved with the Yukon property?
I'm not, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's a real key piece of property out there as far as recreational purposes are concerned. And right now, from what I understand, they want to keep it strictly, farming, conservation, and things of that nature. But again, that's another key piece that makes it more of a village type atmosphere.
Right. Makes sense. Okay.
So does the state, hey Beth, does the state have any plans of any improvements? I know when we were talking to them when we got started, we probably have to do some reworking on Benedict Road and what have you. But does the state have any plans that you're aware of for improvements out on Route 6?
As far as I know, they have no overall plans, that they
Okay.
tend to continually piecemeal as projects come in.
Yeah, and you know, Mike or whoever was saying on the crosswalks, that is so true, because I tell you, we do a lot of walking and it is unbelievable trying to get across Route 6.
It's terrible.
I can't believe that the state would leave it like that. You know, even at Hollyville, at Big Y, you can't cross over anywhere there.
That's the main reason that we, if you recall, where the ballparks are, where the
Yep.
ball fields are, at that point, we tried to get the state to agree to do crosswalks.
Yeah.
At one point, we were talking about bringing well, obviously, Big Y has the sidewalks. We talked about bringing the sidewalks up with some of our sidewalk grants.
Yeah.
The state said no, and that's why the crosswalk is right across the Old Hollyville Road by the ball fields, because we didn't want the kids going over to Big Y
Right.
at the light.
Unbelievable.
I mean, Beth, is there work that maybe, as far as a plan is concerned, that we could lay the foundation now with legislators, with reaching out to the various entities within the state? Because just to get something accomplished, as we well know from our experience on Clark Park, it's takes a considerable amount of time. So if we're thinking that over the course of the next 2 to 4 years, we might have, something going, and, you got these guys starting in March. I mean, do we need to put a hard press, or should we put a hard press on now to get, to present a plan? And if we did something like that, how would we put that kind of plan together to kind of run with the football to get the foundation?
What my suggestion would be is that I would start with our, right now, we've just recently hired a new director of public works. His name is Eric Swenson, I believe. He also comes from the transportation field. He was a planner in transportation. My suggestion would be, and I'd be happy to do the intros to help facilitate. And with Janice, I would put him on it. And what I would do is I would tell him to talk to our regional planning agency, because they are big on transportation too, and see, because of his expertise, he is a professional engineer, see where he can go with it. If he can get some conclusions out of regional planning for support, then I think it would be very advantageous for me, for you, for, anyone, all of our state legislatures, because that's the key. You have to get support from up in Hartford to put some pressure on them. My suggestion would be is not put pressure on right away, but I think it's a great idea on as far as your thoughts, to get the ball rolling. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's, well, maybe we can, as a result of this, have, if you take care of the introductions and get the ball rolling in terms of a conversation, and Janice, if we could do that to get, and find out how any of us might be able to play some kind of, because, you don't want to have I think the developers would be very interested in understanding how the spider of the transportation piece would work, particularly as crosswalks, because how are we going to develop if people can't cross the street?
I think I think it's good to give Eric the opportunity. And if he falls by the wayside, then yes, I will step in and do my part and work with you,
Okay.
Mike and Janice.
Okay.
I mean, Janice and I do this all the time. It's just, we have a new person on board. It'd just be nice to, let's see what skills he can bring to
that Beth, I think it
the
sounds,
party.
that sounds like a perfect plan.
Okay.
So, I mean, Janice, have you met our new person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes, I have.
All right. So maybe we could have like schedule an intro Zoom meeting for the moment, just to say hello and tell them about this conversation and see where it goes. Let him run with the football, like Beth said.
That's,
Hey,
sounds
hey,
good.
Beth.
What do you
are
think,
there-
Janice?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Roy, I'm sorry, I
Hey,
interrupted you.
Beth, are there other items that you think EDC could be working on? To help out as far as development out on Route 6?
I think, Roy, I think the main thing is going to be one of the property owners stepping up to the plate and be willing to put feelers out, and I have talked to them about this, of looking at the regulations, putting together an economic scenario of where we are, where we've been, where we are, and where we think we're going in the future. And then based on that, doing some type of proposals for changes in the regulations.
Okay. I tell you, Beth, we're, even on our own property, I appreciate that, because I'll get back in touch with you the next few weeks, and because we had some different ideas also, along with more of a residential element in it. So I just wasn't too sure what the feeling was, but I would gladly step up to the line and come down and talk to you on some of that too.
Please understand, with developers, they are in the business of developing, and I understand that. But I do feel that they're the ones that are most knowledgeable on what economics work and
Right.
what doesn't work,
Yeah.
depending on the time that we're in. And
I
like I
know.
said from the beginning, Roy, you've lived through the changes, so have I. I think it's proven that I will embrace change as we go on.
Yeah.
And it's all for the best interest of the town.
Yeah, I think so too. It's changed dramatically in the past 5 years.
It really has. And please understand that there are times now, especially now, that people are having trouble understanding the development that we have, because Bethel is booming. Our residential development is just fantastic. And I know we've had to have a few people kicking and screaming in regards to our TOD zone, but our TOD zone is working.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with it. It's providing a lot of different commercial opportunities, but more importantly, housing opportunities.
Right.
No question.
Oh, that's good. I think that's
Beth,
good.
you're doing a great job.
I'm just doing my job, Mike. It's,
Yeah, well, you're doing
it's
it.
my
You're doing it
town. I
well.
love my town.
You're
And
doing it well.
I just do it because I still care.
It doesn't go unnoticed.
Well, thank you very much, Mike.
Does anyone else have any questions? Or Roy, do you have any other questions?
No, I appreciate the input, Beth.
Okay,
All right.
Pleased
And
to hear that.
I look forward to it. Nick,
all right, Beth, we'll follow up with our new Public Works Director and get, poke
we'll see
around.
where it goes. And
See where it
if it doesn't
goes.
work out, we'll just keep plugging along. I would
Yeah,
love
I
to get
mean-
the sidewalks done up there.
Yeah.
So,
I have
I
one
agree.
for Beth, because when I did 36 Stony Hill Road years back now, on the original approval, the big bugaboos were traffic and sewage use and capacity.
Yeah, was this Maple Woods that you did, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I was part of when Maplewood brought the application before.
okay.
And I've actually had conversations with, I think it must be Diversified Realty. Is that
Yes,
Chuck Tint is the guy.
yes, correct.
Had some conversation. Is traffic still, I'm never on Route 6 in the commuting hours. Is traffic still a major bugaboo up there? And how are sewers and sewage for development?
Okay, sewers I couldn't answer to. Maybe Roy could speak to that
Haven't-
more.
Yeah, haven't heard any issues on sewer. I think there's
Okay.
plenty of capacity.
Okay. As far as traffic, Nick, again, I live in the area, so I'm more out on Route 6 than I am in downtown. And it's all a matter of opinion, unless you're looking at the traffic reports from Diversified or Maplewood meeting certain thresholds. We haven't met them yet. And when traffic is bad up there, it is because there is a shutdown on 84.
84.
That's when there's a problem.
I actually think the traffic numbers, just from my own observation of going back and forth, they've changed dramatically you don't get the traffic, the early morning work crowd that we used to get. It seems to be later in the day. And I actually think the traffic numbers are less now than they were 15 years ago.
Well, again, if
Or
anybody
they're
was,
just changed. They're in a
but
different.
if anybody
time.
was walking in the, if anyone was walking in the door now with some change in development or a major development, I would say it's impossible to read the traffic, to get a good traffic report or a traffic count or anything pertaining to that because of COVID.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what the state of Connecticut is doing in regards to that, but you won't get a good traffic read because we're not
I
going.
agree.
All right, I agree.
It
Sounds
changed
not normal.
dramatically.
And some of that might stay into the future as
Right.
as more mobility with the workforce occurs post-COVID. So
Yep.
maybe that's a good thing for traffic, at least.
We'll find out over time. Anyone else have any other questions for Beth? Okay, that being the case, Beth, thank you so much for coming, joining us today, and
It was nice seeing you all.
and
Very
Thank
much
you.
so.
we'll
Thanks,
have
Beth.
we'll have you back as a special guest again.
Okay, when I have good news, I'll come back, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, take care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Beth.
All right, bye.
Thanks,
All right.
Beth.
Yep. Bye-bye. Next up, we have Janice, Economic Director's Report.
Okay, I sent the update to everybody,
Yeah.
so you should have it. In terms of business visitations, we're at 476 and business assistance 623. I did include a deferral application for 86 Greenwood Avenue. This is the Carol Luzzi's deferral that we approved last meeting. Once Marty got involved and he looked at the business names that they had registered the property under, he realized that their application name was not the updated application name. During that time, Carol Luzzi's has changed a lot of their business names. So the application was originally under BFMLP, and it needs to be approved under BFM2 LLC. So I included that application. Mark Caroluzzi has, he removed or read it out, the BFMLP. He wrote in BFM2 LLC. He dated it and signed it. So I just need EDC to approve that application under that name versus the application that we approved the last time, which was BFMLP.
I would look, while we can now, I would look for a motion to make the administrative change only to the name as outlined by Janice. It's a formality for us to approve, and then it'll move on to BOS, where they'll do the same thing. So we have all our records in proper order. So
All right, so make a motion to condense.
to revise the name, the applicant name from BFM
LP.
LP to BFM2
LLC.
LLC.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Oh, wait, who made the motion?
Steve
I thought
Zamora.
Mike made the motion.
All right,
No?
I'll make the motion and you can,
I'll
can-
second.
all right, second. You have it, Lisa?
I do. We made a motion to revise applicant name. Do you want me to refer to the deferral application?
Yes, to the Caroluzzi deferral application, because that's, BOS will be familiar.
For 86 Greenwood Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, second by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay, Janice.
Great, thanks. The wayfinding signs on Public Works will install those. They picked them up, but then it started snowing. So they're going to install them when it makes sense to install them. So they're going to take care of that for us. Last meeting, we talked about the Gene Rubino Memorial. Nick sent out an email. Maybe Nick, you want to just summarize your email real quick for the group?
Yeah, so I asked Randy Salvatore, who is the developer behind Copper Square and has some familial relationship to Gene Rubino. I'm not exactly sure what the connection is, but seeing that that might be a good spot to put some sort of commemorative sign or something along those lines, I asked him, and he said, yeah, I'd love to, but I no longer have control of the property. It's condominium. So it's the unit owner's calls, because the unit owners own the dirt or the common elements that would be Copper Square now. So unless we want to go to the Copper Square board and ask him, we might want to look elsewhere.
Well, I know we feel that that's the ideal spot. I did find out that the management company, I believe, is the property group. The way to approach it would be go to the property group to ask them to go to the board.
So the other option would be to put it on 48, which I included a map, which the Rubinos still own that piece of property. So it's the property right of Copper Square. That's the vacant property that's behind 123 Let's Eat and Prime Pub and that shopping area there, and to the right of Copper Square. So the Rubinos still own that property. It does, it has the frontage on Route 6. That could be another option for us if we want to consider that.
Would it be visible?
Yeah, it's right on Route 6. So where the little pond is, and the gazebo, it's to the right of that. That strip goes from where Copper Square ends all the way to where the shopping center where 123 Let's Eat is. So it has all that frontage on Route 6.
That's a pretty good location.
That's a good location. That sounds like and you know what? I mean, how many memories are of that with that pond and gazebo there?
Right.
You know?
So that's another option for us. If we wanted to see about that, I'd be happy to reach out to Tony Rubino and tell him that this is what the EDC is thinking of doing, and get their feedback.
Why don't Janice, why don't you do that? And let's just see if that's an option. And Tony, I think he would be thrilled. Would be my guess.
Okay. I will
Okay.
do that and
All right.
circle back with you.
Okay.
Good.
So the other, so in terms of Chamber of Commerce, I included in here a proposal for the EDC. In the past, the Bethel Chamber of Commerce had a Bethel Bucks program, which was like a gift card program that chamber member businesses could sign up for, and then people could purchase gift cards for those businesses. The program itself has not been active for a few years. I was hoping over the winter months we could have gotten it going, but the chamber was in a position where they wanted to start that program up again. I did ask them again this after January if they'd be interested, and they did say yes. However, once I looked into how that program ran, it didn't seem like the best fit for where we are with the pandemic and just where we are in general with technology, because that program requires people to go into an office, purchase it with cash or a check, and then it's either given to them or sent to them. So I had proposed to the Chamber of Commerce that maybe they would want to look into an e-gift card program. And you all may be aware that currently the Chamber of Commerce is an all-volunteer organization, and there's no future plans for them to hire a director. They did agree that this would be probably the best program to replace the Bethel Bucks program, but at this time they really don't have the resources to create and do this program. They also, because of COVID, don't really have the membership, the business membership that they used to have. So operating a gift card program with just a few businesses really doesn't make sense. Nobody's going to buy a gift card if they can only use it at one or two places. So the way the program would work is it would be a community gift card program. We can call it whatever we want. We could call it Shop Local Bethel. It would be all customized towards Bethel. There would be a landing page on the chamber's website or even possibly the town's website as well, where people can buy gift cards, and then they would get, it would all be processed through a company. And there is a company that I'm looking at, that I looked at specifically, that other chambers and other towns are using, where they would process all of that. There would be no charge to the business. If they accept MasterCards, then they, they'd be able to accept this. There's no special terminals or software. The way that the company gets paid is through people buying gift cards. They charge $1 and then 5% of whatever the gift card amount is to the purchaser. It would be a yearly program. Businesses would opt in. If it was something which I'm proposing that both the town and chamber partner on together, then the chamber would include that in their chamber membership costs, and then any non-chamber members could opt in for a fee. The benefits of the program would be, we would be able to support local businesses that have been dramatically impacted, which would be retail, restaurants, and service businesses. Obviously, by having a program like this, we would be keep money local and drive dollars to Bethel businesses. The Fairfield Chamber of Commerce just released this program a few months ago, and they sold 750 cards within just a few months, and it was over $43,000 worth of cards that would be going back into their economy. I included, sales here. It shows how sales have increased based on this program in other communities. And the proposal would be is that it would replace the Bethel Bucks program, but that the town would partner with the Chamber of Commerce. And again, that would allow all Bethel businesses to participate, and it would allow the chamber to get this program up and running, which without the town partnering with them would probably be very difficult for them. In terms of responsibility, I kind of broke down our initial, the most time we would have to spend to get this program up and running would be on the implementation of it. And after the implementation of the program, I would see the Chamber of Commerce taking over the ongoing management and maintenance of that program. They would also be responsible for any of the financial transactions that would need to occur and any of the business registrations. So I would see us participating originally in business recruitment for the program, marketing materials, development with the e-card company. I don't know right now if it would be on the town's website or the chambers, but assuming it would just be on the chambers, it would be their responsibility. And then we would partner on marketing the program, such as press releases, emails, and social media. So I wanted to run this by you to see if this is something that you felt would be beneficial. And if you did, if it would, you would support me providing some of my time to get this program up and running for the town.
As Janice and I have spoken about this, I think it's a worthy effort to do our best along with the chamber to support the endeavor. I've asked Janice to draft a letter of understanding on behalf of EDC and the town side to give to the chamber so everyone understands our rules of engagement, so we don't, the one concern I have is I don't want to see Janice necessarily hampered with, carrying the full load. It needs to be shared and in part driven through the chamber in terms of helping these businesses. That's my view.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but kind of echo the same sentiments. It's a lot of work, so
Yeah, so
Janice
Janice will draft it. She's
Yeah, a lot of work.
yeah, so that's the fear that I have, but it's a worthy endeavor. Janice will define and outline who does what and who's responsible for what, and hopefully people will be in agreement and get the thing off the ground. Be awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So Janice, if you could just, like we talked. put the-
Yeah, so I'll just take the responsibilities that I outlined here
Yep,
and I'll put together a more formal agreement for that.
yep.
Okay, great, thank you. In terms of commercial real estate, we're pretty much around the same as we have been for the past 4 or 5 months in terms of commercial properties and available sites. In terms of commercial development, really I'm looking at on the commercial side. We have 77 South Street, Clark Business Park, and 155 Greenwood Avenue that would have commercial components. In terms of Clark Park expansion, the next bonding, I feel like I say this every month. The next bond commission meeting is February 26th, although I do have some positive news. I did talk to, so Governor Lamont has approved the municipal funding. And I think they were waiting for that before they took on any of these infrastructure type projects. So Rahab did reach out to me, that OPM reached out to him, asked him if there was any updates to our application, if there's any additional information, which, there wasn't. So he resubmitted or, reinforced that, the application is good as it is. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get on the February 26th agenda. And if we get on that agenda, it's good news. So it would be nice. It would be nice to not have to say next month when the next bonding commission meeting is. So I'm hopeful. I mean, things could change, but I'm hopeful we'll be on the agenda at the end of the month. And I just wanted to bring it up now. We don't have to make any decisions, but assuming we are going to get the funding in the short term, there's definitely a process we have to go through with the town and the Board of Finance and all of that. But is there anything else that we want to start working on or thinking about or talking about in terms of the expansion? Just things like, we're probably going to have to hire a management company to manage the project. And, I don't know if we want to go through a realtor for the project or if it's something we want to do ourselves, but is there anything I can start working on now before it's, gung ho, we're ready and we've got the funding?
I think, Janet, I think obviously the big thing for us is probably going to be the Board of Finance in terms of, because if we get the state portion of funding, then we have to secure the town portion of funding. So
Yeah.
that would be the priority, which, to be honest with you, I think all we have to do is update the some of the past information that we in order for us to make a presentation to the Board of Finance.
Okay.
And as far as everything else, once the answer would be yes, we would need to. I would actually look to have a subcommittee within EDC to kind of steer that project. But right at this point, until, to me, it's getting the state approval and which, 10 times the charm.
I know. And the only
Okay.
reason I bring it up is, industrial property is really hot now. I've got
Right.
commercial realtors calling me all the time
Right.
about this project. I've
Right.
got business owners that have reached out. So people are going to want, to get moving
Right.
on this in spring or summer. So I can start working on the Board of Finance stuff. But if
Yeah,
there's
the board-
anything
yeah.
else that we can,
I mean, right now, I wouldn't, I think in terms of, we could find a realtor by 8 o'clock tonight if we really want.
right.
Um,
Okay.
In terms of, I think we'll have to pull some of the other parties within the town, including Beth, and be able to, orchestrate a plan in terms of how do we want to drive this bus. If we get to that point, we're not,
Right.
we should at least have the conversations to start talking about it. But right now, the prep work for the Board of Finance to me is the most important part because, you wouldn't think so, but that could be potential hurdle. So.
Right. Okay. So I'll
Hope it
start
works
working
out.
on that and have that ready to go. In terms of the grand list, I just keep on reporting on that information just to keep it fresh. And in terms of labor statistics, so we saw a jump from October to November. But then we did see a decrease from November to December, and the numbers always lag about a month and a half. So I don't have January's yet. So we're at 6.6% unemployment. Our Danbury region is at 6.4, and the state of Connecticut's at 7.5. So just to give you an idea of where we are with unemployment, I'm still managing the Facebook page and sharing jobs, and I've gotten a lot of traction. People have reached out, so I'm continuing to do that as much as I can. And I think that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you, Janice.
Sure.
Next up, we have, I just want to touch on 2021 objectives, which we did cover some of this in terms of Stony Hill and what we're doing for Rubino. Is there anything else that anybody can think that we should add as far as planning into this balance of this year?
Hey, Mike, on the Clark Park one, that's going to be a major push, once Janice gets that okay on
Right.
this, next week or whatever it is. And so, things could actually warm up pretty quickly there, depending on where it is. And we might be back in front of Board of Finance very quickly and hopefully move this project along, because I think the timing could be perfect.
Roy, if it would be, just let's all say a prayer to hope that this thing on the 26th and that,
Yep.
I do think we will have the Board of Finance support. But, I don't want to count our chickens, similar to the same thing.
Exactly.
Once we, to me, if we get approved on the 26th, I'd look to get us on the Board of Finance agenda at their very next meeting.
Right. But keep that in mind, because if that does happen, I think Janice and our commission will be full-time just moving that project.
Right, exactly. And when I have, today we only have 4 of us. I would like to essentially poll the entire group of 7 of us and, establish a subcommittee of, let's say, 3 of us in order to be a steering committee on the project itself, which, if things start moving along, then that would be something I would communicate out to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I just want to add with the 2020 objectives, the downtown parking, I did talk to Beth because the last time we had discussed either drafting a letter of support for this downtown plan. They're not quite there yet, but she assures me they will be there shortly. So I still have intentions of drafting a letter of support for that project. We're hoping the director of Public Works will take that project on, but we're not really sure where that's going to lay yet. But I did say that the EDC, would do a letter and that there would be members of the EDC that may consider being on a subcommittee if that's what they decide to do. So I want you to know I haven't forgotten that. And one other project that we're working on, and I think I mentioned it before, and this is just about infrastructure because you got me thinking about infrastructure. We do have a group of WestCon students. So part of the Bethel Forward Master Plan was to create an overhead pass from one side of downtown where the train station is to the other side of downtown.
Yeah.
And so we have a group of fantastic kids from WestCon that are actually working on the project. And we've got both of our public works directors now involved in that as well. Beth and I were kind of driving that before, but now they've really engaged in that project. And so by the end of this school year, they should have a pretty good plan for us. And interestingly enough, their professor has a very good friend and colleague that he used to work with that is on the DOT. And so he's also been involved in the project as well. So it's kind of opened a door for us if that's where, we decide to go with this project. So it's really positive. It's free. Imagine that. And these kids are really doing a great job and they're fun to work with. So that is another project that we are working on as well, specific to downtown, but that is being worked on.
Fantastic. Okay. Does anyone else have anything related to the 2021 objectives? Not hearing anything else, I would actually look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
No, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Okay,
See ya.
bye-bye.